Can stinginess and miserliness from a man be his true nature? Or is it simply because he does not have love? And I have completely lost all feelings for all men. Welcome to the Love Strategist, where we don't just talk about love through emotion, but also dissect it with the clarity of psychology and real-life experience. Here, we don't rush to judge men as good or bad, nor do we rush to comfort women with sweet, easy-to-hear words. We go deep into the core of the issue, because only when you truly understand the mechanics of emotion can you begin to master it. Your question today is not simple at all. It has two very deep layers. One, is stinginess part of a man's true nature? Two, or is it simply a sign that he does not truly love? And behind those two questions, there is something even more important hidden beneath. Why have you lost all feelings for men altogether? This is no longer the story of one specific man. It is a story about belief systems, about repeated experiences, about how the heart slowly builds a layer of protection after waves of disappointment. In this episode of The Love Strategist, I will not answer emotionally. We will analyze each part like an emotional psychology expert, separating personality traits from the depth of love, financial behavior from emotional investment, personal disappointment from the accumulated exhaustion within the heart. If you are beginning to feel yourself growing cold toward men, then this conversation is exactly for you. Is stinginess a person's true nature? Yes, but not always. In personality psychology, the way a person uses money is not merely a financial matter. It reflects their internal psychological structure. For many men, money is not just a medium of exchange. It symbolizes control, security, and self-worth. When a man shows a prolonged and consistent pattern of stinginess, it often connects to deeper foundations, a past sense of financial insecurity. Those who grew up in scarcity, witnessed family financial crises, or experienced serious financial loss often develop a defense mechanism, holding tightly to resources so they never fall back into helplessness. Fear of losing control. For some, spending money feels like giving away power. If they carry a deep fear of being used or becoming dependent, they tighten their wallet as a way to maintain dominance. A scarcity mindset. This is the psychological state of believing it is never enough. No matter how much they have, it feels insufficient. And when the brain operates in a deficit mode, the natural behavior is to accumulate and protect. A value system that prioritizes material wealth over emotional connection. Some people see money as the ultimate measure of success. For them, preserving assets is more important than creating experiences. Emotion does not rank as highly as possession. When stinginess appears consistently with everyone, regardless of the relationship, it is very likely part of the personality structure. He is not just frugal with his girlfriend. He is frugal with friends, with family, even with himself. In this case, the stinginess is not about you. It existed before you entered his life. But here is the subtle truth. Not every act of saving is stinginess, and not every man who guards his money lacks love. The difference lies in motivation and flexibility. A man with a stable personality structure may be careful with money, but when the situation truly matters, he is willing to open up. A man driven by inner fear will remain closed, regardless of circumstance or emotion. So the real question is not only, is he stingy? But rather, is he capable of adjusting his behavior when the relationship holds enough value? And it is at that point that we begin to see the boundary between personality and emotional investment. When a man truly loves, love, if it is real, always changes the way a man allocates his resources, including his time, energy, attention, and even money. In male psychology, money is not merely material. It is a symbol of competence, achievement, and autonomy. Therefore, the way a man uses money in a relationship reflects how he positions that relationship within his life. When there is genuine emotional investment, money is no longer something to guard tightly. It becomes a tool to create shared experiences, dinners, trips, moments that two people build together. Provide care. When a woman needs support, he does not see it as a burden, but as a natural responsibility. Offer protection, both materially and emotionally. Express value, not to show off, but to communicate something without words. You matter. A man in love wants the woman beside him to feel safe and prioritized. That is a deep instinct of mature masculinity. So if a man is willing to spend on himself, on personal pleasures, on things that enhance his social image, but calculates every dollar when he is with his woman, then we are no longer talking about a frugal personality. We are talking about priority. People always spend money on what they consider important. If he can be generous with the world but restrained with you, then you are not at the center of his value system. True love is always accompanied by a form of investment, not display, not wastefulness, not buying emotions with material things, but willingness. Willingness to share, willingness to open up, willingness to carry responsibility. A man in love may not yet be wealthy. His finances may be limited, but he is rarely stingy in attitude. You can see it in the way he initiates, in the way he wants to contribute, in the way he feels proud to do something for the woman he loves. Because when love is real, investment no longer feels like loss. It becomes joy. But the more important question lies within you. I have lost all feelings for all men. When a woman says this, I do not hear coldness. I hear exhaustion. Because emotions do not disappear overnight. They do not shut off suddenly. They wear down gradually through repeated disappointments, unmet expectations, and efforts that come from only one side. From an emotional psychology perspective, when a woman enters a state of losing feelings across the board, there are usually three deeper possibilities. You have been disappointed too many times. Human beings do not only have hearts, we also have nervous systems designed to protect us. When someone repeatedly experiences being undervalued, lacking emotional investment, promises made and then broken, the brain activates a very intelligent survival mechanism. No expectations, no more hurt. That is not emotional numbness. It is self-protection. You have not lost your ability to love. You are simply trying to minimize emotional risk. But the problem is, when you turn off expectations, you also unintentionally turn off your ability to feel excitement. You may be seeing men through a negative filter. If you continuously meet men with similar traits, for example, stingy, emotionally unavailable, unwilling to invest, not proactive, then the story may not lie entirely in men out there. Psychology calls this relationship pattern repetition. Our nervous system tends to be attracted to what is familiar, not necessarily what is healthy. If in the past you became accustomed to emotionally distant men, low investment, or having to work hard to earn love, your brain may unconsciously label that dynamic as normal, and you will continue to feel drawn to those who trigger the same emotional pattern. Not because you enjoy suffering, but because familiarity creates a false sense of safety. Over time, when these experiences repeat too often, you begin to form a belief filter. All men are like this. And when that belief becomes strong enough, your emotions withdraw before they even have a chance to begin. You have not truly lost your feelings. You are simply tired. There is a significant difference between I no longer believe in love and I am too exhausted to keep trying. A person who no longer believes in love becomes bitter. A person who is exhausted becomes quiet. If inside you there are still questions, still reflections, still a desire to understand, that proves something very important. You have not run out of emotion. You have run out of energy. And when energy is depleted, the heart temporarily closes. So before concluding that you have lost all feelings for all men, perhaps the real question is not, what is wrong with men? But rather, where does my own heart need healing? The expert perspective. In relationship counseling, I always make one distinction very clear. Behavior does not always equal emotion. Stinginess by itself does not automatically prove that a man does not love. Some men love sincerely, but grew up in scarcity. Some care deeply, but are dominated by intense financial fear. Some were never taught how to express love through the sharing of resources. However, stinginess always reflects something deeper within. It reveals level of emotional maturity. An emotionally mature person understands that in a relationship, giving is not losing. If someone consistently feels anxious about sharing, it is likely that unresolved fears still exist inside them. Personal value system. What does a man place at the center of his life? Money? Control? Or connection and partnership? The way he uses money is a silent declaration of what he values most. Capacity for long-term investment. A lasting relationship requires continuous investment, not only financially, but also in time, effort, and responsibility. If someone is overly reluctant to contribute, it raises questions about their ability to build something sustainable. But there is something more important than analyzing him. If his stinginess makes you lose feelings, makes you feel unprioritized, undervalued, then the issue is no longer whether he loves you or not. The issue is value misalignment. Some people see money as an asset to preserve. Others see money as a tool to build a shared life. No one is entirely right or wrong, but when two value systems differ too greatly, one person will inevitably feel deprived. Love does not die because of a lack of money. Many couples begin with almost nothing and still build happiness. Love dies when one person begins to feel unappreciated, when sharing turns into negotiation, when contribution becomes calculation, when a woman begins to ask herself, "Do I truly matter in his life?" And once that question appears too many times without a clear answer, emotion quietly withdraws. Not because of money, but because of self-respect. I want to ask you one question, not to judge you, not to shift responsibility onto you, but to reach the deepest layer of the issue. Have you lost feelings for men because they are stingy? Or because somewhere inside, you have started to doubt that you deserve to be loved in the way you truly desire? These two possibilities look similar on the surface. Both lead to emotional coldness. But psychologically, they are entirely different. If you lost feelings because of their stinginess, it simply shows that your standards are clear. You need a man who knows how to invest, how to prioritize, how to express the value of the relationship through concrete actions. When that does not happen, your emotions withdraw to protect your dignity. This is a healthy response. But if, a little deeper inside, you begin to think, maybe all men are like this nowadays. Maybe I shouldn't expect too much. Perhaps I should lower my expectations. Then the story is no longer about them. When a woman repeatedly experiences feeling unvalued, the brain quietly adjusts its belief system. Maybe I don't deserve better. This psychological mechanism is very subtle. It does not appear as a loud, clear sentence. It appears as reduced expectations, lowered standards, and gradually a shutdown of emotional excitement. Because if you truly believe you deserve a man who is generous, both in spirit and in action, you would not lose feelings for all men. You would only lose feelings for the ones who are not aligned with you. When the loss of feeling becomes widespread, it is often a sign of belief exhaustion. I do not want you to answer quickly. I simply want you to sit quietly for a moment and ask yourself, when you look toward the future, do you still believe that there is a man who will make you feel prioritized, cherished, and naturally invested in? If the answer inside you is yes, then your heart is not dead. It is simply resting. If the answer is no, then what needs healing is not the men out there, but your belief in your own worth.